The moment that play got wiped out, man, you could just feel the air go out of the building at Miami Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium. Down 14-3 in the second quarter of Week 9 against the Baltimore Ravens, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa connected with wide receiver Jalen Waddle on what should have been a crushing 36-yard gain, planting Miami inside Baltimore's 10-yard line. And then boom, it gets pulled back by a penalty on running back Ollie Gordon for tripping. And the voices in the booth, like analyst Terry McCauley, weren't buying it. "It's not a foul," he said. "He gets him with the lower part of his rear end/torso whatever, doesn't raise his leg and impede or obstruct the opponent. It's an incorrect call." Now, think about what that means. Momentum gone. A chance to close the gap and start swinging the pendulum back into Miami's favor erased. Instead of roaring toward the end zone, the Dolphins walk off the field, punt 3 plays later, heads hanging. You could see the frustration in Gordon, on the sideline, helmet slamming the turf. The guys in Dolphins gear were trying to calm him, but you know that feeling, when you're in that moment and something blows it up for you. The kind of frustration that burrows deep. Why this matters: the Dolphins have been staring up at disappointment all year. They're 2-6. That's not where a team brimming with talent wants to be. That's not the image when you flip on the lights and say, "This is our time." It's the image of, "How did we get here again?" The kind that builds pressure in the locker room, hangs heavy in the head coach's chair. Speaking of which, head coach Mike McDaniel? Yeah, his name swirling in circuits. If the owner believes in him, fine, but belief only lasts as long as results. And according to Ian Rappaport on the NFL Network, McDaniel's job is firmly up in the air, on the hot seat, as they say. He says owner Stephen Ross likes him, believes in him, and has invested in him. But the clock is ticking. The real judgment? How do the players respond? What's the vibe in that locker room? Are they still playing for him? Or just through him? We've seen the Dolphins flick that switch before, seemingly unstoppable when it works. But when it doesn't, when calls go against them, when big plays get snatched back, it's not just one drive. It ripples. Confidence dips. Every snap carries a little more hesitation. Waddle and Tua have shown moments of electric spark. This particular drive had that spark, but they never got to fan the flame. They never converted that surge into points. Now imagine you're on the sideline. You're a player who knows what you can do. You've seen the film. You felt the work. You believe the team can win. Then you get robbed of a big opportunity because of a call you don't agree with. That second quarter penalty wasn't just spotting you back 10 or 15 yards. It was stealing energy, stealing belief, stealing a chance to shift the narrative. And when the narrative is we're struggling, stealing a moment like that hurts more than the lost yards. It hurts more than the scoreboard. Let's dig in a little deeper. What would have changed if the Dolphins had scored? Inside the 10-yard line is where you press down. You threaten the end zone. The Ravens would have felt heat. Fans in the stands would have started to lean. The team could have gone into halftime feeling alive, not wounded. Instead, they had a walk-off deflated. The sideline looked flat. The drive died. The punt happened. The scoreboard remained frozen. And with each passing minute, the window gets smaller. Because a 2-6 record doesn't give you luxury. It doesn't give you, "We'll handle this next week." It forces urgency. It screams, "Fix it now." So where does that leave McDaniel? He's the one calling the plays, trying to find the formula, keeping the guys locked in. But the formula doesn't just come from the coach. It comes from trust. Trust that the officials will let you play. Trust that when you execute, it turns into points. Trust that when you fight through adversity, you'll come out the other side. You could argue, if one terrible call can tilt a drive, what's that say about resilience? What's that say about the team's ability to absorb the blows? And we're not even touching yet on how this affects the fans. Dolphin fans have stuck around, believed in the process. They've seen flashes of potential. They've seen the offense erupt in bursts. But when those bursts get cut off, when the chain snaps back, it hurts. You start asking the big questions. Are we really built to win? Do we have what it takes? Can we keep our heads above water? For the Dolphins, the answer isn't just be better. It's be tougher. Be ready when the universe gives you the wrong call. Be ready to overcome. It also shines a light on discipline. Sometimes penalties happen. Sometimes they're on the players, sometimes on the refs. But when you're in this kind of season, you cannot afford mental stumbles. You cannot afford to let a questionable flag be the turning point, because folks will remember that moment and label it that one call, and the narrative will spin. The Dolphins should have scored. They had the chance. They lost the moment. And you know what? For Miami right now, those narratives carry weight. They carry criticism. They carry pressure. They carry the scoreboard. But here's a thought. Maybe this is the wake-up call. Maybe when you're down like 2-6, when one drive could still salvage meaning, you realize you don't have the luxury of margin. That every play matters. Every penalty matters. Every weird bounce of referee judgment matters. The Dolphins cite talent. They cite speed. They've got Tua. They've got Waddle. They've got weapons. But talent doesn't equal wins until you convert. And when you're right there in the red zone, in prime position, and you lose it, what you lose isn't yardage. It's belief. We saw Gordon furious. Furious enough to slam his helmet. That's raw. That's an outburst of "this isn't right." And you could say he might have overreacted. But in a way, those moments reveal more than cool composure. They reveal when the heart is still in it. He cared. He fought. The heat of emotion is sometimes what drives the next push. But only if it's channeled. If it turns into a vengeance drive. If the team says, "We're not letting the game get away from us again." If McDaniel stands up and says, "All right, we'll control what we control." And when we're handed a bad moment, we respond. Because when you're 2-6, you don't wait for the miracles to find you. You make them. Now look ahead. What does this 2-6 record mask? It masks spurts of greatness, but also reveal thin margins. It forces you to ask, are we an elite team slowed by bad breaks, or are we a good team that needs to fix the little stuff to become great? If Miami wants to seize that second one, becoming great, then these red zone fights, why did they blow that call? Moments, they matter. They matter a lot. They matter for the guys in pads, the coaches on the sidelines, and the fans in the stands who crave more than near misses. For McDaniel, this isn't just about calling the right play. It's about managing chaos. It's about preparing for the moment when the flag flies and you weren't expecting it. It's about showing that the locker room still cares, that the players still believe, that the moment undone by the questionable call, it doesn't define the game. It doesn't define the season. But if you let it linger, if you mourn it instead of moving forward, you're handing the narrative away. And trust me, Miami fans, they know heartbreak. They know when a season could have been something. They know when this team has the pieces, but hasn't quite put them together. This isn't about making excuses for the penalty. It's about saying, this moment revealed something. It revealed the cost of being stopped when you have all the momentum. It revealed that talent alone isn't enough when the execution falls short or the bounce goes wrong. It revealed that when you're fighting for respect and relevancy, every inch matters. Every decision matters. So the question now, how do the Dolphins respond? Do they look at that drive and say, that's how we lost? Or do they say, that's how we learned? Are they going to let calls like that define their season? Or are they going to use them as fuel? Because when you're 2-6, you don't have time for pity. You don't have luxury of regret. You've got to roll up your sleeves. Bring the fight. Turn those near wins into yes. Turn those drives inside the pink zone into touchdowns. Because someday, all of those little losses stack into something big. And you either build a machine that grinds out wins in spite of setbacks, or you become a team remembered for what might have been. In short, that penalty call, it's more than just one play. It's a micro-COSM of the Dolphins season. The frustration, the second chances missed, the machinery that can do great things, but hasn't yet locked in. If Miami wants to flip the script, this is one of those moments they'll talk about. Not to linger in the pain, but to mark the turning point. Because if you let it slip, the record just gets worse. But if you harness it, man, the spark can ignite something big.